Hey guys, welcome to Let's Play Dark Souls Part 6. Last time we explored the rest of the depths that we skipped in the previous episode and we killed the Gaping Dargon. Today we are going to be making our way to Blighttown and we are going to do the entire... There's really two levels of Blighttown. There's the upper level and the lower level, and today we're going to be doing the upper level, which takes up significantly more of Blighttown. There's not as much on the lower level. So the first thing we're going to want to do is just run back through the shortcut, and over here by Donald there is a locked door. We didn't actually look at it last time just because I knew it was useless. But when we killed the Gaping Dargon, we got a key. And we can use that key to open this door. And there is a massive hole. I do not recommend jumping down it. There's a ladder over here. There's nothing else up there, so you don't really need to worry about exploring over there. Up here, there's going to be a narrow passageway, and there's going to be a big guy with a club. So you want to be kind of careful when fighting this guy, because you can easily get knocked off. You don't want to get hit whenever you're standing on the side, or he'll just sort of knock you off. So I recommend... These guys have a lot of health, so you might want to try to backstab them. They're not too hard to backstab, and so that'll help you kill them faster. I'm going to equip the spider shield here, because this shield that we got, it resists poison, and... First of all, these club guys deal poison damage if they hit you with their club. And but as you could see, he just hit us in the shield, and our poison bar didn't go up at all. And so that's because we have the spider shield. If you're using any other shield, you would get a little bit of poison. And there's also these toxic dark guys that inflict toxic, which is basically poison but more deadly, and you have to use the blooming purple moss clump to cure instead of the regular moss clump. And they can build your toxic meter up pretty fast. Usually you'll be able to take 2 hits before you're toxic, and if you have a shield, a couple more. However, with the spider shield, we can take as many hits as we like, and it will never go up because it just completely resists it. Here's a new enemy. It's a little weaker, but it's faster, and a lot of the time there'll be more than one. That attack that one just did is its grab attack, and if it hits you with that, you basically die in one hit. It does... I get hit by one later in this episode, and it does massive overkill damage, even from full health. Over here is the first toxic dark guy. Usually, he'll actually hit you while you're standing over there fighting them at some point, but he actually didn't hit us this time. But with the spider shield, there's no worry for him. There's a ladder here, and there's a couple enemies down here. One will actually come up the ladder usually, but this one's kind of oblivious. And so, over here there's an item. I believe it's just another soul, so you don't really need to come over here if you don't want to. You can actually jump down here from up there where we were just at, and you can kind of make it past some of the enemies, but then there are enemies down here, and then you have to climb a ladder, so it's not really a good way of using this to get past the enemies. You probably end up fighting more than you normally would anyway. One thing that Blighttown is known for is causing lag. I personally don't think it's that bad. I think it might have been improved with the PC version. I'm not sure. I never really thought it was that bad. Some people say it's insanely bad, though. I don't really know. Over here, the way that you can go is to the right, and there's a ladder. However, there's an item down here, and the only way you can get to it is by making this jump right here, and it's a pretty tough jump. I actually fail it a couple times before I finally make it. And if you do fail it, you're probably going to die. I didn't realize there was a second guy there. So I tried to heal, but I wasn't able to in time. But, so I just ran back around, and I actually failed it again. And so then I had to go back around and finally do it one last time, and I finally make it. And then you get the Iato, which is another katana. I don't think it's as good as the Uchi katana, though. I think out of all the katanas, it might be the weakest one. I think it's pretty close, though, if it's worse. But we're just going to stick with the Uchi katana, since we'd have to upgrade that anyway, and so that'd be a pain in the ass. This guy actually hits me with the grab attack here. And as you can see, he's still going, and I've been dead for a while now. Like, he dealt like twice my health. So yeah, their grab attack is like massive overkill. This time I try to get a plunging attack. And it doesn't actually kill him, but it does a lot of damage and stuns him for a second, so I was able to get around him. Not sure if it's better to just do a plunging attack there or not. Probably is. As long as you can get the roll off quickly. Over here, there's a very narrow walkway, and at the end there's 3 blooming purple moss clumps, which is pretty useful because there's a really high chance you'll get toxic in this area. I usually get toxic at least once. Yes. And so, having those, you might want to just put them on your quick bar so that if you do get toxic, you can heal it quickly. Over here, there's a rickety bridge, and this thing is like literally nearly impossible to get across. It's way too much of a pain in the ass to deal with, so I actually fell off, and I decided to go back. There's actually there's a little trick you can do. If you're fast enough, you can quit out of the game whenever you're falling to your death. If you can quit out of the game fast enough and then reload your file, you won't actually die, and the game will just put you back onto where you were last touching solid ground. And so that's actually what I did there. It probably actually would have been faster to have just died, since I had to go back to the bonfire anyway. But anyway, over here, up this ladder, there's a guy hiding in that barrel. And you can basically get a free kill on him if you just sort of attack him there. If you walk past him, though, he'll break out of the barrel and attack you. There's another narrow passageway over here, and this area is actually where you would come from if you had gone the other way rather than jumping for the Iato. And there's a lot of other guys over here, and I believe a lot of these are actually the ones that attacked us before. By that item we just picked up, there's a floor. It looks a little bit different, and if you touch on it, you'll actually fall through it. And so I don't think you'll actually die. I think one of the enemies hit it, and so it actually fell through. I'm pretty sure there's a platform you can land on down there, and so you won't actually die if you fall through there. Assuming you have full health, you will lose some HP. But I'm not going to bother going down it anyway. We're just going to make our way back over here. And then we're just going to roll over to this ledge. I'm not sure. If you fall down that thing, it might actually lead you down to this part somewhere. But this is the safe way over here anyway. The safest way. Over there is a soul of a proud knight. 2,000 souls. And then up here is actually the shadow set, which is kind of a cool set. I thought there was a way to go over here, but I don't think there actually is. But if you fall back down here, there's another soul of a proud knight. And so, make sure you save these, by the way. I don't know why, but I've seen a lot of people who will, as soon as they find these souls, they'll immediately pop them. And then, like, shortly after, they'll die and just lose it. And you really just want to save them for when you actually need them. I wasn't exactly sure where to go here, so I just homeward boned back. I'm pretty sure there is a way to get out of there, but I didn't feel like finding it. We needed to go back to the bonfire anyway. So here I decide to try out the shadow step. The shadow step, the shadow set. I figure we've been using that set for a while, so might as well try something new. I don't really like the mask on the shadow set, so I decided to use the thief mask instead, which is a pretty cool looking mask. So now we are off. Over here there's a bridge, and there are 2 fire-breathing dogs and this dude on it. And if you actually walk out onto the bridge, there's actually a toxic dark guy shooting at you. And so you want to actually just lure the enemies over here to the side and just fight them over here. And as you cross this bridge, he'll actually shoot at you. So you just want to get across it. If you just walk at a normal pace, you'll get across. But if you stop, he'll hit you. Then you might get toxic. And pretty much, if you don't cure toxic, you're basically dead. Because it does a massive amount of damage very quickly. And it lasts for quite a while. So you pretty much have to cure it. We're not that far from the bonfire though, so if you do die, it's not a big deal. There's a shield over here called the Eagle Shield. I forgot exactly where it was, and I didn't really feel like finding it, so I think it might be down that ladder to the left here, but I don't bother going down there. The Eagle Shield actually used to be really popular because it's basically like a great shield that required low strength. It was only like 16 strength, but it has like 70 stability, which is like of great shield quality. I never really liked it though. It's a really ugly shield, and plus you don't get the parry, which I like. But one thing that's not appreciated enough are the aesthetics of this game. You really just like, even if a shield's really good, if it looks like crap using it, I don't think it's worth using. Same for armor sets. Up this ladder. This is actually the toxic dark guy that was shooting at us when we were on that bridge over there. Also, these toxic dark guys don't respawn, so once you kill them, you don't have to worry about them being able to toxify you anymore. So that's one strategy that you can use if it's really bothering you that much. You can run through and like kill the toxic dark guys and then like potentially die, like if you just like run past a bunch of enemies or something, and then like you can get through it. Down here, there's actually, if you looked over to the side, there's this giant insect thing. And you can use this to get behind him. And from back here, there's actually nothing he can do. And so, it's extremely easy to kill. Just make sure you don't fall off. But he's guarding a pyromancy called the Power Within, which is actually a really useful pyromancy. I might actually use it later. What it does is it increases the damage you do by 40% for 100 seconds. And over those 100 seconds, you lose 1% of your HP per second. And so you slowly lose your HP but your damage is increased by a lot, by 40%. One thing that's interesting is in the old Dark Souls, there used to be a reason for 2 pyro gloves, and that is also whenever you get over here, you can go through this white fog and then go down 2 ladders, or you can fall down here and there's an item. Be very careful falling. It's really easy to fall off and die. And you get the whip, a really, really crappy weapon. Using it is like trying to kill all the enemies with a floppy piece of bacon, so I don't really recommend it. But if you want it, this is where you find it. But the pyromancy gloves. So in the olden days of Dark Souls, whenever you upgraded your pyromancy glove and you used the Power Within, the amount of damage you took increased. However, the amount of damage you dealt didn't. And so there was actually two sorts of uses for the Pyro Glove. If you were an actual pyromancer, you would upgrade your Pyro Glove and you would use regular pyromancies, and you could also use the Pyro Glove as something else and not upgrade it, and you would use Power Within. That way you wouldn't take more damage. And so if you were an actual pyromancer, you didn't really get to use Power Within, because I believe once you got it maxed out, it did 2% damage, 2% of your health, which is a pretty significant increase. You're taking twice as much damage. And so a lot of the times, if you made it to New Game Plus, you would get the second Pyro Glove, and then you would have one that was plus 15, and you would have one that's upgraded. That's been changed, though. Now, the damage you take no longer increases, and so there's only a need for one Pyro Glove now. If you've only been playing since the PC version, that was changed, I believe, with the PC patch. That was one of the changes that was made. But yeah, we're finally at the end of this. We picked up the Wanderer set up there, which is actually the class we started as. However, it has a different weapon. It has the Falchion instead of the Scimitar. And the Falchion is basically a better Scimitar. It has slightly more damage, but it weighs 0.5 pounds more. However, its moveset and attack speed is still the same, so as long as you can deal with the 0.5 pound increase, it's basically always worth it to use it over the Scimitar. So once you get to the end, you just want to head right, and there will be a bonfire right over here. And we have no more use for the Spider Shield. And then if you run back there, there's a Dragon Scale, and so which is used to upgrade dragon weapons, which we don't actually have any. Oh wait, no, we have the Dragon King Great Axe. But anyway, goodbye.